How cool was Sunday?
Sunday was everything I ever hoped for. We came out and we got the job done, and just that atmosphere at Ford Field was unlike anything I've ever been a part of. It was just amazing. It was just amazing, and it brings back so many good memories just thinking about it right now, and even looking forward. The opportunity that this team has is special, you know.
You're in a moment, you're doing your thing. Did you stop at any point and look around and take some of it in?
Yeah, right when St. Brown got the first down and the whole place just went wild, I was looking at everyone around me, looking at the crowd, hugging everybody. It was that was very special, and to be a part of that in Detroit for all the history. Honestly, I'm happy it's over with, because when there's so much history behind a game, and it was kind of similar to my Ohio State game when we hadn't beat them in 10 years, hasn't won a playoff game in 30 years. It's good to kind of move past that mountain and kind of start looking for bigger and better things.
How does it hit you differently because you were in those stands as a kid? You were one of these fans?
It's unbelievable, you know, growing up with the 0-16 team, growing up with just the same old Lions phrase. It's crazy to see where we're at now, and to see that we're breaking those old phrases, and we're creating new phrases. And I've been thinking about it, and a lot of the little kids growing up are seeing these Lions that we have right now, and they get to grow up with this and what we're going to have for years. So I'm happy for those kids.
And you were the little kid who had the Stafford jersey and the Calvin Johnson jersey, and there's Calvin on the sideline, and there's you sacking Stafford. That'd be pretty surreal.
That's like a moment where you can't even believe even the fact that Calvin's out there on the sidelines, I'm dapping him up, saying what's up. I'm like, in what world do I live in where, you know, you grow up watching these guys, and I get to, you know, hit Stafford, dap up Calvin, Barry's out there, all these people. It's the support's been unbelievable, and all these synchronicities with the old players and all these, just it's unbelievable.
For somebody who's not from here, why does a football team connect with a city the way the Lions connect with Detroit?
That's a good question. I feel like with this Detroit team and the culture that we're building, it really embodies the city of Detroit and what Detroit's all about. You know, the grittiness, you know, just the blue collar workers going to work every day. I think our team and the city of Detroit kind of go hand in hand, and I think the people believe that too. We believe that, and that's why we embody it.
We hear Dan Campbell a lot. We heard him come out of the locker room and say, you know, we haven't forced a punt yet, all right? So he's really out there, right?
Yeah.
From the stuff we hear. But there's Dan Campbell of the sound bites, and then there's Dan Campbell, the coach. What makes him a great head coach?
You know, I think Dan has this relatability with the players that not many coaches have. And, you know, I played around a lot of coaches that were former players, but I feel like Dan gets it. He gets it, and just to have him in every team meeting, just talking to us, giving us what he thinks, I think his advice and information is just so valuable to all of us, and he's been nothing but great ever since we got here. I mean, even when we were 1-6 last year, he hasn't changed, you know, and that's what I appreciate the most about him.
What is it with you and the end of the season? The last 3 games, like 15 tackles for loss, whole bunch of sacks. What is it about you? Because you did this in college too. You get to the end of the run, and it seems like you take it up a notch.
Yeah, you know, I'm not quite sure. I can't really explain it. You know, I don't know why I have to wait so long. You know, I'm sitting there all year just, you know, all pissed and stuff. But when we get to the end of the year, it's great. And I always finish things off on the right note. But I'm not really sure. But I am happy it is this way. You know, I'd rather be you know, having all this production and stuff in December and January compared to, you know, September or October.
You get the sacks and a lot of the credit, but Aleem McNeil is so important to you guys. Can you talk about what his value on that defensive front is for everybody, but especially for you?
No doubt. I mean, just having a guy who can push the pocket, having a guy that can create pressure on the interior, it's amazing. I mean, every great edge rusher, we all love a great interior push, a great D tackle to kind of rush with us, and he's really kind of come into that role. You know, he's improved so much this year, and you know, to have him in there with me, you know, we're just both going through it, but I know I can trust him with everything, and you know, I can't wait even for the years to come with us. You know, it'll be great.
You kind of think back to the draft, and it was a weird year where no quarterbacks were coming out that usually jumped to the top of the draft class. And there was another edge rusher, and Jacksonville took Walker. And all the things that had to align for you to end up playing for your hometown team. Do you ever sit back and go, how the heck did this happen?
Every time I think about that draft, I go into that spiral of like, how in the hell did I end up in Detroit? You know, like what are the odds? Because in my mind, I was going to Jacksonville for months, and then a week before the draft, it kind of changed, and I was like, let's do it, man. I get to be home, and my story is like it's just unbelievable. I'm taking the same expressway I took to high school, and it is a very interesting story, but I'm so grateful for everything.
So if you meet somebody from Michigan, always the tip is where you're from, and you flash the mitten.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
So can you show on the mitten where you went to high school, where you went to college, and where you play in the NFL?
Yeah, it's all just right there, about 20 minutes away from each other in a little triangle. So that's all it is.
Isn't that crazy to get on the same highway and you're doing this thing?
I think about it every day. I passed the old exit I used to take to get to my high school, and it's weird. It's really weird, but I love it. I love it.
When you were in high school, did you always want to go to Michigan? Your dad played there, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I grew up going to Michigan games too, so Michigan was always the place for me.
This was a pretty good week, with Michigan winning the championship finally on Monday.
Yep.
And then the Lions winning a playoff game on Sunday. I would imagine that all the folks who are part of the Hutchinson family lived the week of their football lives last week.
No, we've honestly, my family and I, we've been talking about just the state of Michigan right now is like, this is one of the best years for sports, just with Michigan winning the Natty. And, you know, if we make it to the Super Bowl, win the Super Bowl, like this might go down as one of the greatest year for sports in Michigan. And, you know, it's a lot of gloomy weather right now, but people can have something to just hold on to and embrace and be happy about. And Michigan hasn't had that for a while, you know.
Tell me about the kid who went to Divine Child High School. What kind of kid were you like growing up?
You know, I've always been a very goal-oriented kid, hardworking kid. I mean, growing up, I danced a little bit before high school, but.
Well, time out. You danced?
I did.
Give me some deets. Come on.
Okay,
or dance for me, either way, whatever you want to do.
I was a competitive dancer, mainly in hip hop. You know, so I was popping and locking it. And
did that start from your sisters going to dance
school?
It
did. Yeah.
And you were just watching, and then you had to jump in?
Yep. I was watching, and my mom kind of bribed me back in I think I was in third grade. Right. She bribed me to try it, and I ended up doing it, and I ended up loving it. And it was this dance studio with a lot of Japanese street dancers, and those guys growing up, I looked up to those guys. You know, those guys were like just so cool growing up, and it was really it was really a great experience, and I think it really helped even create a foundation in my athleticism with the you know, just the balance, body awareness, flexibility. It really helped.
So that's got me thinking two things. One, your spin move. I mean, you're pretty good on your feet. Do you think the dancing helped that?
100%.
Really?
I've always been inclined to spin. Like even in lacrosse, and I was spinning with the lacrosse stick. Like I've always been inclined to spin ever since I was dancing, because you're doing turns and stuff and doing all that and dance, and there is a connection there.
So that explains the Billie Jean from Hard Knocks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I get up in front of a crowd, I can dance a little bit. You know, I can hold my own in the locker room. You know, post game, I can hold my own. So it's fun. It's fun.
How about the people of Divine Child High School? What did they do to instill the qualities that you carry onto the football field now?
Yeah, I mean, Divine Child is a great high school, and just the values and everything that they're about there is everything I'm about, you know. And even my football team, when we went, we kind of hoisted our high school team, and we kind of did things we haven't done in years. And just as a whole, as a person off the field, they helped me develop, and just on the field, it was some good years for us in high school.
I want to show you something. Speaking of Divine Child High School.
Okay. Uh-oh.
I want you to hit play.
Oh, no. What'd you do?
The whole community, even beyond Divine Child, is excited, a hometown kid to play for this team. And there's not an eighth grader that shadows through Divine Child that sees me that doesn't ask about Aidan Hutchinson. Once a Falcon, always a Falcon.
Aidan, you may have all the fans in the world, but you know that your Falcon family will always be here to be proud of you, to support you, and the entire Lions team. I've been watching you when you were here at Divine Child, when you went through Michigan. You and I were Wolverines.
When did you guys do this?
When
was this made? So confused.
You should be so proud of where you are, and we love you and support you.
Oh my God.
That was this week.
You guys did that yesterday?
That was yesterday.
No way. I was asking, where are all these Divine Child questions coming from? What is it? That's hilarious. Those are my two favorite teachers right there. That was my old football coach.
Right.
That just brings back a lot of good memories. I've had a lot of good memories there, and made a lot of good friends, met a lot of good people, and those were my favorites right there.
And when you see that, and you see a Michigan game with a bunch of people wearing 97 jerseys, even though you don't play there anymore,
Yeah.
and you look up in the stands and you see a bunch of kids wearing 97 jerseys,
Yeah.
how does that make you feel about the impact you've had on so many people with your ability to play football?
Yeah, it's really so surreal. Even when I see the outpouring of all the support now, I just you kind of don't know how you got here, and when I look back at my career and when I look back at my high school, college, everything, I've always, you kind of just keep moving forward through it all. But I think when you look back at videos like that, you look back at the people and the lives that you've met, you really understand the impact you made on people. Where in the moment it doesn't really feel like that, but in hindsight, it's really a beauty of a thing.
Do you want to dance for us?
No, I'm not dancing for you. No, it's you'll see me dance if we win the divisional.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.